Kai Havertz now out injured. Is it time to buy and captain Viktor Gyokeres? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are well and you enjoyed Game Week 1. I cannot wait to get started with Game Week 2, and this is my team selection video. Guys, so much to get through today. We're going to almost nail in captaincy. We're going to talk transfer decisions and big benching dilemmas as well. But first up, if you fancy hitting that like button nice and early, that would be much appreciated. But please, 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 if you do one thing today, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm making so much cool content and I really hope you guys are enjoying it. So look, first up, let's have a look at my 15-player squad. Before we talk benching dilemmas, before we talk transfers, this is how I'm currently set up. And look, I'm fairly happy. Like, I look at my goalkeepers, that's set. I'm happy with my defenders. Murillo, unlucky not to get a clean sheet last time out. Munoz offers the upside. I benched his 5-pointer. Pedro Porro always feels like he can get a return. And Esteve actually might be in the 11 this week versus Sunderland at home. Williams as well there, fairly happy with double Forest. The midfield is stacked. I'm not knee-jerking out players like Palmer and Wirtz. I'm happy with Salah. To be on Reinders is great, and Dewsbury-Hall with set-piece threat too. And then up front, yes, João Pedro, it's not ideal that he's getting the early subs. And if we were to get a team leak that he didn't start on Friday night, I would, of course, consider selling. I can't see that happening. I think he's clearly first choice at Chelsea. He just needs a goal. If he keeps getting the 72-minute subs, though, maybe it'll be time to sell. And Ollie Watkins there as well. Let's talk Ollie Watkins, though, because I like Ollie Watkins as a long-term pick. I like the Aston Villa fixtures. But does this team look better? And part of the reason I picked Ollie Watkins was to cover the 9 million price point. I do have 0.5 in the bank. I've left that in my bank for my pre-season planning. But Ollie Watkins, it was always a case of probably when, not if, Ollie Watkins comes out this team and Viktor Gyokeres comes in. So how does it look with Gyokeres in this team? Well, straight away, we see that Leeds fixture and we like it. It gives you a great captaincy option for this week, and Leeds is the perfect entry point at home. I know Leeds look good against Everton, but Everton didn't put much of a fight up, and it's very different when you play at Ellen Road to when you play at the Emirates for them. I expect Arsenal to dominate this football match and score plenty of goals. Now, the reason why Gyokeres is so appealing is Kai Havertz is injured, and this news changes, I think, everything. Now, Havertz's injury means Gyokeres becomes a 90-minute man. Now, we can see from David Ornstein, like, they're likely to go into the market. They want more options. But Viktor Gyokeres was always first choice number 9. But with Havertz breathing down his neck, who Arteta loves Havertz, you always felt like some games Havertz might get the nod and he'll get a lot of 30-minute cameos off the bench. And we saw that in Game Week 1. Gyokeres came off in the 59th minute. It was far from optimal for his owners. And I looked at that and thought, yeah, I'm glad I didn't go there. But for Game Week 2, I expect he'll probably get 90 minutes. And if he gets 90 minutes or close to 90 for the foreseeable future, he's a very, very different FPL pick. Now, Gyokeres has had a lot of criticism for he scored all these goals in Portugal and it counts for nothing because it's the Portuguese league. He can only play what's in front of him, and I don't particularly like that narrative. I look at his form for Sweden, and I look at his form in the Champions League and go, he scores goals at all different levels in the last couple of years. We remember him as the guy that played for Coventry, didn't make it at Brighton, went out on loan to Swansea. But, take the Champions League, right? 6 Champions League starts last season, 6 goals, including a hat-trick versus Man City. If you watch that game, boy, did he bully them. I think Gyokeres is going to do perfectly well at Arsenal. The only thing stopping me going there, right here, right now, is the fixtures moving forward after Leeds, okay? So when we see the fixtures for Arsenal and we filter it by difficulty, this is for attacking difficulty. Arsenal are bottom of the ticker. And I have to say, like, it massively puts me off when I look at their Game Week fixtures from 3 to 6. So in Game Week 3, it's Liverpool away, Forest at home, City at home, Newcastle away. That is arguably the worst 4-game run you could have, right? Or probably the hardest 4-game run. It's the hardest 4-game run. Not the worst 4-game run, but the hardest 4-game run they will have all season. And with that in mind, I think it's enough to put me off. But of course, Leeds as an entry point is brilliant. And if you're really struggling for captaincy this week, a move from Watkins to Gyokeres is absolutely fine. I don't think I make it. And at the end of this video, I'll give you like percentage chances. But I think I'm fairly happy with captaincy this week. And therefore, I don't see it as a needs must. I also really like Ollie Watkins as a long-term pick, as I said. But I completely understand why many will look at Leeds at home and go, I'm going to take an early punt on Gyokeres. So, look, we've seen my team from team view, but the big problems I've got this week is all around my squad, right? It's around who I bench, it's around who I captain, it's around if I make that transfer for Gyokeres in, which I said I think is unlikely. But first, guys, we have had so much volatility in the transfer market, right? And I'm talking about FPL transfer market. You're all buying players like Gianni Reinders. He's gone from like 2.5% owned 2 weeks ago before that Palermo game to now like he's in 1 in 3 teams. And because of this, we're seeing loads of price changes. Now, if you want the most accurate price changes on the market, in my opinion, it's Fantasy Football Scout. They're using the live FPL stuff. It's brilliant. Do check out the Scout members area. Link in the description and QR code flashing up every now and then. So when we see my team, I've got 2 options here. I can play a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2. Let me show you the 3-5-2 first. And guys, thank you for hitting that like button. If you've got any comments, I will respond to all comments in this video, but please also consider hitting that subscribe button. So look, first up, benching dilemmas I've got. Straight off the bat, I'm going to be benching Dubravka. I'm going to be benching Mark Guiu, obviously, and I'm going to be benching Nico Williams this week. My big dilemma is who do I bench between Pedro Porro and Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. At the moment, we can see here, Pedro Porro's benched, and it's a midfield 5, including Dewsbury-Hall. Now, Dewsbury-Hall plays at home to Brighton. At home to Brighton is a really perfectly good fixture for Everton going into their new stadium, first home league game. They were poor versus Leeds, but what we saw versus Leeds was Dewsbury-Hall played 90 minutes, big tick. Dewsbury-Hall played number 10, big tick. Dewsbury-Hall took corners very well, I might add. Some really good corners, actually. O'Brien should have worked the keeper with one of them, with a header. Now, when Grealish comes onto the pitch, there's the fear that we could see Dewsbury-Hall moving deeper because Grealish is either going to play 10 or wide left. We saw Grealish come on wide left and Dye moved to the right, and Alcaraz, who was on the right, he actually moved to number 10 and Dewsbury-Hall went deeper. Regardless, if you're getting 90 minutes out of him and he's playing the majority of them as number 10, you're very, very happy. But Brighton also looked very good versus Fulham, and Brighton were really unlucky. Fulham scored a late goal in a 1-1 draw where Brighton dominated that football match. Because of that, because I really rate Brighton, I think I might end up benching Dewsbury-Hall with a very heavy heart. And if I do that, it will be old school. 4-4-2. What do we make of this, guys? Pedro Porro coming in for Man City, I know is far from ideal. You'll all be going, why? He's not going to keep a clean sheet. Pedro Porro versus Man City plays super, super high. If you've seen my Sunday debrief videos, if you saw my video on Wednesday, I showed you average pass maps and position maps. Porro is like often a wide forward, especially when he's away from home against tough opposition. Thomas Frank goes from 4-3-3 against Burnley. This week, I guarantee it, he'll play a 3-5-2. He'll play a 3-5-2 or he'll play a 3-4-3. And Pedro Porro will be wing back, super high, super wide. He has a chance of attacking returns. He also has a chance of a clean sheet, unlike Dewsbury-Hall with his 1 clean sheet point. Porro gets the 4. He also, I think, has a greater chance of defensive contributions. Now, Dewsbury-Hall could get DEFCON, but so could Pedro Porro. Pedro Porro, in a pre-season friendly 2 weeks ago versus Bayern Munich, picked up what would have been defensive contribution points because he was well worked down the left-hand side, and of course against Man City, he could be up against Doku, right? You're going to be busy. Or even if it's Ait-Nouri, you're going to be busy. And I feel like a lot goes down that City left. And with that in mind, Porro could be a DEFCON beast this weekend as well. I'm surprised so many are benching him. As things stand, I'm 60% likely going to start Pedro Porro, 40% likely to start Dewsbury-Hall. If we were to hear anything like João Pedro benched, do you know what? I'd probably just bench him and play both of them. But I can't see that, and I think João Pedro starts. I am going to be starting Esteve of Sunderland. I fancy of Burnley. I fancy Burnley. Keeping a clean sheet might be a push, but I fancy that they have a good chance of a clean sheet. It's a very championship game there at Turf Moor. So that's where I'm at with my benching decisions. But captaincy, God, captaincy's the really, really big one this week. It's such a big one this week. Now, I want to just go on record before I show you all my assets here. In fact, let me show you the Rob T graphic first and foremost. Teams to target. Projected goals are Arsenal to score 2.5, Man City to score 2.35. Clear and away, the bookies' odds think Arsenal and City are the 2 high-scoring teams this week. If you own Gyokeres, you captain him. If you own Saka, you captain him. If you own Man City attacker Haaland, probably only Haaland, you captain him. My problem is I don't own Haaland and I don't own any Arsenal players. This is why I like the idea of going Gyokeres, because I'd make him my captain. Guilt-free, he'd be my captain. It's a newly promoted team. I'm going to target newly promoted teams this season where possible. My problem is I ain't going to go Gyokeres. I can't see it. I'm like 10% likely going to buy Gyokeres, and it would just be for captaincy. I'm going to keep Ollie Watkins, and with that in mind, who do I captain? Do I go Palmer versus West Ham, Salah versus Liverpool, or Ollie Watkins versus Brentford, his former club? He's got a very good record against, but the bookies don't quite fancy Watkins to the same degree. So when I show you a poll I did on Twitter with those three options, because the masses own those three, that's part of the template. Haaland's not. He's in 1 in 3 teams. Arsenal attackers are in like 1 in 3 teams. The majority, it's a very, very minor majority. Salah, it's 42%. Over Palmer at 25 and Watkins at 32. This is a real split pot, guys. This is a coin toss between 3. It's a roll of dice. Now, you've got to look at this yourself and just go, I'm not going to go with the masses. I'm going to go with the guy that I think gets the most points. And I think I know that player. For me, I think I'm set on captaincy. And I don't like coming into my team selection videos going, I'm 33% Salah, 33% Palmer, 33% Watkins. Because when I told you my early thoughts video on Sunday night, Monday, that's what I said on these 3. I said it was a complete split pot. But there's no point in me saying that on Thursday, Friday. That's not helpful to you, is it? You may as well not watch my Monday video. So I'm showing you honest reflection. I've sped up. I'm not allowing myself to make the decision on Friday. I'm going into the end of the week content as I always try and do, and that's giving you guys clarity what I'm doing, right? And I'm doing that, and I'm going to tell you this is why I really like Mo Salah. Let me show you a graphic from last week from the Scout members area. I filtered this by attempts on target, and I went with 10 for Liverpool, right? So 10 with Liverpool. Chelsea, 2 attempts on target. Now, total attempts, Liverpool had 19, Chelsea had 19, but they're very different attempts because Liverpool are working the keeper. Now that's important to me. That's important to me. I just feel like Liverpool are the best attack in the league. They're the best attack in the league by some distance, and they'll always create big chances. Now, if they're always going to create big chances, and Salah's their talisman, I feel like he's obvious. Now, Cole Palmer has scored Cole Palmer hasn't scored an open play goal in the Premier League since January. He scored penalties. I need more from Cole Palmer. And in the Club World Cup, I thought we got it. In the pre-season friendlies, I thought we got it. And we might still have it versus West Ham. But Salah gives him more of an assurance. Now, Liverpool versus Newcastle historically has been a high-scoring end-to-end game. I think it will be another basketball game this time. If it's 4-4, 3-3, 2-2 even, I'm a happy manager because Salah will be involved if Liverpool score 2 or more goals. I'm confident of that. So I'm going to go into this game week. I'm 99% certain. No, I'm 90% certain that Salah will be my captain. If that 10% occurs, where I buy Viktor Gyokeres, I will make Gyokeres captain. But I don't think it's strong enough with the Arsenal fixtures moving forward. Let me know in the comments what you would do around Gyokeres or what you're doing. I don't think the Havertz news will change it for many, but I am a high upside, high risk manager, and I'm always chasing, where I can, the marginal gains to be different. And often that costs me, and you'll see from my rank last season, that massively cost me. But it is a tempter for me. I just don't know if it's a tempter I want to make, given the fact that Arsenal's fixtures are rough moving forward. And Villa's are good. If it was the other way round and Arsenal had a good run moving forward or could compete with Villa on the fixture ticker moving forward, I'd do it. But I don't think I'll do it for that reason. Guys, I've really enjoyed showing you my team. We'll have another look at it. I'm 60% likely to do this team, which is 4-4-2. It's Pedro Porro over Dewsbury-Hall. Let's see where I land. I'll try and do a deadline stream if I can on Friday where I lock in notification bells to know when I'm live, guys. Hit the subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.